guys, I'm so excited to be back with you again tonight. If we have not met before, I'm Lisa from over at Recreated Designs, and I blog over there. And I'm going to be back, I'm here tonight, and we're going to make a whimsical bug tonight. So we're going to make a bug out of some things that you can just find at home or at a thrift store, and it's perfect for your summer decor. So let's hop right into our project. So we're going to make a bug for summer. So you can change this up, and but you need to, for the base of our bug, we're going to start with a spindle. You can find these at craft stores, at thrift stores, salvage yards. It's just an old spindle from a stairway. So I'm going to start with that for the center of my bug. And I'm going to use some Fusion Mineral Paint Encasement. This is just a white color, so you can use any white that you want. And I'm just going to make the center of my bug, oh my goodness, white. I love blue and white. I have a lot of blue and white in my home, so I really like that color combo, so that's what we're going to do. And we're just using some white paint. This particular one is Fusion Paint Encasement, just a white color. It's kind of a snowy white color. We're just going to give this a coat of paint here. Okay, so we've got our little spindle here, and I've just kind of painted the top. I've painted it all the way around, and we're going to set this aside and just let it dry for a minute while we do the rest of what we need to do for our project here. So I'm just going to let this sit over here. And you can do your bug any color that you want. I love blue and white. I have a lot of blue and white in my home, so I chose this white. I wanted to do white in the middle because for the wings of the bug, now that we're going to make those, I found this gorgeous vintage wallpaper, and it was at a salvage store too, and that's kind of what I used as the basis for my bug. So I wanted the wallpaper to go with the white spindle. So okay, so to make the wings of our bug, we're going to use one of these. We just take a hanger, a normal hanger that you have. They don't make these as much anymore, but you can still find them at dry cleaners. Lots of thrift stores have them. It's just a normal wire hanger. And this is what we're going to use to make the wings of our bug. So the first thing you're going to do, just stretch it out a bit. And you can just do this. Okay, so we're just making this can be however you want. We're going to stretch out the wire hanger, and then we're going to push down in the middle to make kind of the shape of some bugs. So I started by stretching it out because I didn't want those corners at the side to be so prominent. So I stretched it out, and now I'm just pushing down the middle, and you can see it's really kind of a loose pattern of what some bug wings would look like. So I'll put that down there so you can see it. And if it's not flat, that's okay. It just adds some texture to it. So that's what you want to do. And you're going to need 2 of those for your bugs. So just take any wire hanger and bend it up like that. Okay? And these can be whatever shape you want. They don't have to match, so however you want to do that is perfect. And I already have one bent here, just to show you. So what you're going to do is cut off the end. You can see this. Usually if the wire is pretty thin, you can just bend it back and forth and it'll snap. You can also use wire cutters, or I happen to have, because I do a lot of home reno stuff on the blog, I have what's called a Dremel, and it's got a little tip, and it will easily cut those off too. So you can use any of those things to cut the end off your hanger, but you can also just work it and bend it back and forth. So, okay. So we're going to take our wing here. We're gonna save this one for later.
You can make a butterfly with that, huh?
Yes, you can absolutely make
nice.
a butterfly. When I made mine, it kind of was a cross between a butterfly and a dragonfly, so I didn't really say which one it was. It was just, I just called it a bug because it was kind of like both of them. So, okay. So we've got these. You're going to need 2 of these. So, and I showed you a minute ago, I'm going to use this gorgeous blue and white vintage wallpaper. I love, love, love this wallpaper when I found it. Didn't know what I was going to do with it at the time, but I liked it so much I grabbed it. Plus it was free, so you can't really go wrong. So what we want to do, because this has a stripe to it, I want to make sure that my stripes are going, I want my wing stripes to be going this way, so I'm going to lay my wing pattern onto the paper. And you can use any kind of paper you want for this. You could use wrapping paper. If you want to put it outside, you could use fabric instead of paper. Mine was for, I wanted to hang it inside, so I wasn't too worried about the fact that it was paper and not something that could go outside. But you could use fabric or plastic to cover the wings, and that would be great for outside. So I'm just going to cut my paper here. And you want your paper to be a little bit larger than your wing here. So you can see, I don't want to cover this little tip part, but I want to cover the whole rest of it. So you can see it's a little bit bigger here. And I'm just going to trim some of this excess off. Excuse me. Okay, so we have our wallpaper here. Excuse me. And I'm just gonna lay my wing on here, and I'm gonna start gluing this paper. I have a little bit too much here, so I'm just gonna trim some off. And you're only gonna see the front of this, so it doesn't really matter what the back looks like, so don't be too worried about how you glue the back of your wing here. I'm just gonna cut this up a little bit before I start gluing. And you can see I've got my paper lined up down here right at the bottom because I want to cover this little notch, but I don't want to cover that back part because that's what we're going to use to glue onto the spindle later. Okay. There we go. So I've just put a few little cuts here to make it easier to fold in, and I'm going to start gluing my paper, and I'm just using normal hot glue. And I'm just going to keep gluing around and pulling my paper in, and sticking it down. So you'll see this, because it's supposed to just be fun and whimsical, you don't really need to worry about this being perfect by any means. I'm just going to keep turning it around like this until I go the whole way around my hanger here. So I'm just going to work around and glue our paper up here. Okay, and I just kind of go randomly around. I want to make sure the paper works the whole way around. So I'm just going to keep gluing around here. And you can turn it over to see what's happening, and you can see it's starting to just take the form of the hanger that's underneath, and the hanger just provides that sturdiness of the paper because I'm using paper, so it provides a form for it. We were just saying that if you wanted your bug to be outside, you could cover it with plastic or you could cover it with fabric, and those would be great for outside if you want to hang this up outside on your fence or something like that. I don't know about you, but I am very excited that summer is finally here, so I was ready to start making some summer projects and summer crafts. It was a long winter this year in Canada, so we are very happy to have some warm weather finally. And I'll just move that up there so you can see. So we are just going around, and again, it doesn't really matter what the back looks like because you can see on the front, oops, I got some glue there. It's starting to take that form of the wings. So we'll just finish this off here. All right. So we're just gonna glue this all down here. It's pretty stuck. And this just forms one of our wings. Okay, so there you go. See how pretty that blue and white paper looks? And I love the stripes. I just think it adds something so cute to it. So I'm just gonna clean this up here. Okay, so we've got one wing done. And I went ahead and pre-made a second wing so that we had two ready because you want your bug to have, obviously, two wings. So we've got our set of wings here, and they're kind of dragonfly, kind of butterfly wings. Whatever you want your bug to be is perfect. And whatever color scheme you want, absolutely, you can change this up in so many different ways. So you can paint it whatever color you like and use paper or fabric. So we have our spindle here that we painted white, and it's pretty rusty-y kind of looking already because I didn't paint the whole thing, but I'm just gonna rough it up just a little bit here. And I'm just using a piece of sandpaper to just kind of take off some of those high spots. So I'm just distressing a little bit. I really love that rustic kind of farmhouse look. So, okay, you can see we're starting to get our bug here. Kind of looks a little bit like an angel at this point. And I do want to add a little bit more to this, to the wings. So I'm actually going to take some burlap scraps, and I have these from all of our other projects that I do. It's just leftover burlap. And I'm going to make some smaller wings to go inside of the wallpaper wings. And I want 4 of them because I want to do 2 on each side. So I'm going to fold this so that I can cut all 4 out at once. I don't want to cut, it's pretty thin. So instead of cutting 4 separate ones, I'm just going to cut, actually I'll just fold it this way. I'm going to cut 4 at once so that I can have some 4 smaller wings that kind of go on top of the blue paper. I love that look of the kind of the neutrals and the natural color against the blue and white. So I wanted to add a little bit of this burlap. You can see I'm just freestyling this wing. I'm just going to cut around. Sorry, my burlap's having a bit of an issue here. Okay. So I'm just going to cut out 4 wings here, and they can be whatever shape you want. I'm just kind of cutting them in a wing here. And these can be as big as you want too. So I don't want them to cover up the paper completely, but I do want to add just a little bit to it. So and you can see, so I've got my 4 little wings here. Just kind of cut out these fat little chubby little wings just to add a little something and kind of break up the paper a little bit that I chose to use. So I've got 4 of those. So those are going to be kind of the inner wings for our little bug here. And mine was folded, so it's got some creases and lines, but that's okay. I like that. But you can always iron burlap. I don't know if you knew that, but you can iron burlap if it's got if it's been folded or creased at all. You can iron it and get that out. So we're going to set that aside for just a minute, and we are going to work on our body of our bug here. So we want to add some antenna to the top. We want to add some just little stuff at the bottom here. So I'm going to take a couple of these twigs, and if you joined me a couple of weeks ago, we made these lavender stems out of beads, and I had a bunch of these twigs left over that we used. So I'm actually using two of the ones that were not painted, and I'm just going to break them off. And I'm going to use these to make as little antennas. So, and I don't mind if they've got little things attached, or these can be however you want. And I love using things from outside as much as I can in my projects. I like to make them natural looking, and I love to use stuff that you can find anywhere, or that you can find outside, like these little twigs. So we're just going to put some hot glue, and I'll show you here. Most spindles will have the top and the bottom open, you can see here, so that they can be joined together. So I'm just going to put a kind of a dab of glue in there. You can see in there. Okay. So in here, I'm just sticking my little twigs here, and you can see inside on the glue. And I don't mind that they have these little things, so I just think it makes it look fun. So you can see when I stick him up, he kind of looks like he's got some little kind of funky antenna now. So there we go. So he's got his little antenna, and I can see where I touched it up here when it was wet. So I'm just gonna rough that up a bit. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a bit of a fingerprint. So that's okay, I can just rough it up. Okay. So we want to add like a little sparkler kind of tail at the bottom. So I'm going to use some of this raffia that I had, and you could use anything for this. You could use yarn, you could use raffia, you could use some more twigs again. So I'm just taking a few pieces of the raffia here. And you don't need much, you just kind of need like a little handful here. Cut that. Just something to make it fun at the bottom. So this one that I'm making, this bug, really can't go outside. Mine isn't meant to go outside because he has wallpaper wings, but you could easily adapt this to make it if you wanted to put yours outside on a fence. I have this old screen window. I'll move this stuff. I have this old screen window that I actually have hanging on my wall as art. So I hung my bug on the screen wall, or on the screen. So mine's inside, so that's why I don't mind using paper to make mine. But you can always change it up and make it so that it could be outdoors. So you can put it outdoors. So with my raffia, all I've done here is fold it in half, and I've kind of made this little bunch of raffia. And I'm just gonna tie a little piece around to hold it together. See there? I'm just gonna pop that around. And it's just to hold my little bunch together, my little bunch of raffia. And I'll just tie that one more time, keep it tight. And then I'll trim off the ends here. I don't really need those ends unless they fall down into the bunch, but I'll just trim them off here. And this can kind of be as crazy or as wild as you want it. So there are extras in there. And this is going to be the end of our bug. So we're going to put this in the end just to kind of finish off down here before we add our wings. So it's just something fun to add at the end, almost like a little firefly. And we're going to do like the top. And like I said, most spindles have this hole in the top and the bottom. So it's a great little place to put glue and put something coming out. So you can see I'm just putting a little dab of glue in there again. Okay, so we've got our top and our bottom here, And so our body part of our bug is all done. So now what we need to do is finish him off and attach our wings. So we have our 2 wings here. And I'm gonna save my burlap and add that last. So I'm just gonna set that aside. And I'm gonna use my little just wire things. You can use anything that you can grab with, because I wanna just give this a bend a little so that when I tuck it behind my, you can put them up high or low. When I tuck it behind my spindle, I want it just to have a little bit of a curve to it so it's easy and it stays in place. So I don't want to cut it, I just want to kind of give it a little bit of a bend to it. So you can see here, I'm just kind of bending it up a bit. I'm not sure if you can see that. So it just makes it easier to attach them. And in case you didn't see the back before, it really doesn't matter what the back of the wings look like. It's just the front. You're going to see the front. So I'm just going to bend this one up a little bit here. Whoops. Oh, well, I cut the end of that one off. That's all right. Those things happen. All right. So we're going to finish this. And before we finish, be sure to get in what you would make with your bug before we do our draw at the end of our time. Okay, and so for our bug, if you want to make a dragonfly, you can kind of put your wings up high. Usually dragonflies have higher wings. If you want to make a butterfly, you can put them more in the middle so it looks like a butterfly. Someone said it looks like an angel too, so you could kind of do that. I like them up high, so I'm going to put my wings up high. So I'm just going to go to the back of my spindle here, and I'll turn it so you can see it. And I'm going to use the same hot glue. So I'm just going to use hot glue, and on the back of your spindle, you just want to kind of put a whole glob, for lack of a better word, of glue back here. And you're going to stick your wings into the glue. So you don't have to put them, and can you see how when I curved it a little bit, it helped it just to kind of wrap itself around the spindle. And then just gonna put a little glue to hold it in place. And it doesn't matter if the wire's showing, we'll be covering that up with our burlap after, so I'm gonna stick my other wing in right here, and I'm just sticking that into the glue. And you're not gonna see this, so it doesn't really matter what the back looks like, but you just wanna make sure you have enough glue on there to hold your wings in place. Okay, so we'll let that looks good. We'll give that a little dry there. You can see all the glue strings. Be careful if you're using hot glue not to burn yourself. I typically do, but try not to. And we're just gonna let that cool there a minute. And while we are, we'll get our little burlap wings here ready. So there. So you can see my glue starting to dry here. And I'm just gonna hold that in. I love these kind of neutral, muted, almost oceany colors, so I love the blue and whites. So I'm gonna turn this over. And you can see, so we're almost done here. So we've got our wings. This one might need a little more glue. I can glue him up. And we're going to just add our burlap to finish here. We want to add, and this can be however you want. You can make them in the middle so they kind of cover up and make that second set of wings. Or if you want them to cover your paper, you can spread them out a little bit. I like them kind of in the middle, like a second set of wings. So I am just going to use my glue gun and put some glue inside there, and I'm gonna slide the burlap right in there. So I'm just sliding it right in behind on top of the wire, and that'll hold it in there. I'll turn it around here so you can see, and then we'll flip it over and we'll give it a little glue on the other side too. You can also, if you want, you can also put a dab on the wings. If you want to hold them down and have them be in place and not flop around, you can put a little dab of glue there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. Okay, so we've got a little bit of glue there, if you can see that. And I'm just gonna add my wings. My second set over here, spread them out a little bit before the glue dries. And I'm just gonna put a dab, one little dab on the blue and white paper just to hold them so they're not too floppy. And there you go. You can see how easy it was to make this cute little whimsical bug for summer. Now he can be hung up anywhere. You can hang him on your wall. You can hang him on an old screen like I have mine here. I have an old screen that I put him on, so he's all set to go for summer. I want to thank you for joining us. Be sure to hit subscribe at the end. Again, I'm Lisa and I blog over at Recreated Designs. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.